How do you assess and optimize your to-do list? I think one of the biggest challenges that faces many of us when it comes to achieving results is that we're just trying to do too much. Now, you could look at the back of this whiteboard, and this is from just a general kind of just general conversation, a little bit of detail in there. Hopefully, it's not super clear, but actually, I don't think there's anything that is, yeah, there's nothing that's identifiable there. Um, how do you eliminate stuff? If you are constantly going and 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 going, it's going to be really hard for you to eliminate things. If you're constantly going, where do you create that speed bump, that break, that push to stop, pause, reflect, assess the situation, and determine, am I actually spending time doing the right things? Am I working hard and ultimately achieving my getting closer to achieving results, or am I working really, really hard, but to the outside, based on outcomes, it actually looks like I'm hardly working. I'm just running on a treadmill. So the challenge that I'm going to pose in front of you on this elimination Friday is identify what can you eliminate. I shared earlier, I made the tough decision. I had to exit an agreement. And quite frankly, I failed at the agreement. I got myself into a situation where I was trying to do too many things and ultimately didn't get the systems and processes in place to be able to do the work at a level that I expect some of my capability. And this has been a challenge for me a number of different times. So, what right do I have to tell you get better at elimination? I mean, what I'm saying is don't be like me. Don't get into a situation where you're overworking and ultimately underperforming. Build out your strategy associated with your primary objectives, and anything that falls outside of that strategy should be eliminated. Um, Now, you can't just stop right in the middle of things. You've got to go through the process. You probably have to go through the process of sunsetting things. You can sunset your W-2 role. You can give notice. I was on a call earlier today where somebody said that they gave notice just recently because the job was just sucking the life out of them, and they don't really have a parachute. They don't have the plan B other than they're trusting in themselves to execute on that plan B. And this is one of the cool things about being involved in communities like Go to Network or the GTM United, excuse me, Go to Market United. You hear stories from people who are dealing with and struggling with a lot of the same things. So if you're in a situation where you're just trying to do too much, figure out what you can eliminate. If you're struggling to figure out what you can eliminate, then revisit your broader goal. Identify the strategies that'll help you get closer to that goal. And then if there are things on your to-do list, task list that don't align directly with those strategies, cut them out. Cut them out. Sometimes I play, um, I I declare, you know, if someone's out there saying, "Oh, bless his heart," I declare task or to-do list bankruptcy. I just basically wipe the whiteboard clean and start over. And the reason why I declare task to do task list bankruptcy is because I'm in a situation where I'm just trying to get too much done. And the reality is, if I'm that far behind on delivering something, the person on the other end either has moved forward, they've realized, hey, I can't count on you to do this thing. So they've moved forward, or that thing that you were working on prioritizing really isn't that important to them or to you. You might have thought of this as being something that's really important. So if you're going through this challenge of I'm just trying to do too much, figure out what you can eliminate. If you're struggling with figuring out what you can eliminate, revisit your goals, then build, identify the strategy relative to those goals and align the tasks that you're working on relative to that strategy. One of the things that I like to use, and I'm going to go up to the whiteboard here, and this is going to make for great live whiteboarding, but I'm going to take a picture of something here just so I've got it. And then I'm going to jump on the whiteboard and share a 2x2 that, yeah, I think is really, really important. So the 2x2 Again, great live video. This is when I look at some of the data and see where people dropped off. I bet you they dropped off right in the middle of that thing. But wait, there's more. So we're cleaning the slate. It kind of feels good. There we go. We've cleaned the slate. And like I said, it feels good. Let's do a line. Let's draw a line. This line is all about energy. Does the thing that you're working on right now, the goal that you're moving toward, the work that you're doing, whatever the thing is, whatever that is, does it give you energy, high energy? If you're working toward a goal and you think that and you envision that piece of where you're going to be once you succeed, uh, is that a high energy place, or is it kind of like that's kind of nice? I might get there. If it's not high energy, let's eliminate it. If it's not going to really drive something super interesting, let's eliminate it. On the other side, if it's work that you're working on, sucks the life out of me. Meetings where we talk about the same things over and over and over again and don't make progress suck the life out of me. They drive me nuts. I get distracted. So, how do we avoid the suck the life out of me stuff and do more of the high energy stuff? Well, first of all, we've got to remember what is it that sucks the life out of me. Now, there are some people who just love being in meetings. They go from meeting to meeting to meeting to meeting, and they think that is the most productive use of their time. And God bless them. That's not me. So, how do I what of the things that I'm working on are either sucking the life out of me or giving me high energy, filling me up? The next one, the next axis is impact. Low impact, high impact. There are times where you have to do things that are really high impact that might suck the life out of you. Here's your job. If it's high impact and it sucks the life out of you, find somebody who that thing gives them energy. Spreadsheets, working on financial statements, managing processes. That's the stuff that I don't really want to deal with. I like looking at spreadsheets and building spreadsheets because it helps me get insight into the data, but I don't want to live a life day to day inside a spreadsheet. There are people out there, as surprising as it might be, who love that stuff. Find them, partner with them. Find them, partner with them. High impact sucks the life out of me. It might give them a lot of energy. And now they're doing some magical stuff. On the other side, for the high energy, high impact stuff, I will run through walls to do more and more of that kind of stuff. It doesn't feel like work. Put me in the room with someone who or a team of people that are struggling with identifying next logical steps. It is on. Like we can start to pull pieces together, start to deconstruct a problem that we're working on. That's the kind of stuff that I like to do. Give me a whiteboard and a couple of markers. Yes, let's go. Give me a group of people who are committed to working on really tough things because they want to solve for those things, because they know how important it is to solve for those things, because they've been in the shoes of people who've struggled with solving those things. Yeah, that's my group. High energy, high impact, especially when they're going to go do the work and it's going to change the way that they think about the work that they do. Now, there's a lot of stuff that brings me a lot of energy that's relatively low impact. Think about golf. I get out there and I play golf. I spend time on the golf course. It's relatively low impact, broader to all of the things that I'm working on, but it has well, actually, you know what? I guess I would shift around. If I think about golf as high impact relative to mental health, it actually is pretty high over here. So high energy, high impact. Those are the kind of things that I want to do. If I've got this to-do list, I've got this long to-do list and I'm just getting stuck with it. I'm trying to figure out what I can eliminate. First off, revisit your goals. Then look at the strategy relative to those goals, and anything that's on that task list that does not align directly with a strategy connected to your goal, figure out a way to either offshore it to somebody else, offload it to somebody else, delegate it to somebody else, or it might even make sense to eliminate it, cut it off. Decisions are tough, and decisions are about deciding to cut things off. Sometimes we need to make those tough decisions and cut out tasks that we have committed ourselves to. My guidance to you, recommendation to you is that at the point that you determine that, make it happen quickly. Be direct in the communication. Admit errors. Do your best to help solve for some of those errors and move forward. It's going to be good for both you and the person on the other end of that relationship. So if you're out there doing too much and you're struggling, take some time, pause, get out of the day to day and work through some of the process stuff that I shared with you. If you struggle with this, you can always check out some of the free resources that are available on findmycatalyst.com. This has been one of those weeks where we're talking about elimination, we're talking about clarity, and I figured revisiting this 2x2 would be really helpful. If you are looking for a way to keep track of this, let me know. I have a time tracker that I share with people that I work with that actually helps you map against this energy and impact quadrant and will help you match against important and urgent things, which is the Eisenhower matrix. So imagine being able to take both of those 2x2s as a way to evaluate where you're spending time, energy, and attention. And I can tell you that self-assessment is rough. It's tough to go through it, but if you don't know where you are, it is super hard to get to where you're going. I'll say it again. If you don't know where you are, it is super hard to get to where you're going. Once you know where you're going or have an idea of where you want to get to next, and you've assessed where you are today, you can build out your own map. You can map the journey, start taking steps, and work that process. I hope you have an awesome rest of the Friday. Let me know what you think of these videos. Are they helpful? What kind of questions would you like me to answer in these videos? What are the things that are getting your way? I had an awesome conversation with Matt Ferguson earlier this week on a podcast episode that we're going to put live in probably 4 or 5 weeks or so. And it was like, what do you do? How do you know when it's time to leave a job? What do you do when you're working for a bad boss? What happens? How do you go through that process? So can't wait to share that with you. And Matt, thanks for recording earlier this week on that. Thanks and have an awesome Friday.